Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to a NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. Let's get down to your questions today. First one comes from Anthony. Hey Aaron, rumor has it that Finn Balor will show up as the Demon at WrestleMania 35. Do you think that this is a start of a streak for him as the Demon at many WrestleManias in the future, or the Demon versus Aleister Black, WrestleMania 36? I have no idea what the future is for the Demon character. WWE likes to bring back the character seemingly at random times and not that frequently, as a matter of fact. WWE, they may bring him back for WrestleMania 36. They may not. They might not even bring him back for WrestleMania 35, despite the fact that the Demon was shown on the WWE Network advertisement for WrestleMania. It might come down to Vince's mood. Vince might be in the mood for the Demon and say, yeah, let's do the Demon this time at WrestleMania. But then, next year, he might say, nah, let's do something else with Finn Balor. Finn Balor could be the Demon at Battleground. He could be the Demon pretty much anywhere at any random time for no good reason whatsoever, because that's how WWE operates. So I have no idea. It's all up in the air. Anything can happen. It's all speculation. Don't know. Got this one here from Chris. What are your thoughts on the rumor that John Cena will be facing Kurt Angle at WrestleMania for his final match? And would it make sense since Angle was his first opponent and Cena was the one inducting him into the Hall of Fame? I'm fine with the idea. I personally would prefer John Cena versus Samoa Joe, but Cena versus Angle does make sense with John Cena's first main roster match being against Kurt Angle on that SmackDown, so it's a full circle. Kurt Angle's final match would be against John Cena again. I like it. I think it's a nice concept. It's something for John Cena to do. It's a big fight feel. I have no issue with it. And yeah, John Cena did induct Kurt Angle into the Hall of Fame. The two of them, they're tied together in WWE history, so why not just end it this way for Kurt Angle? Have him face the guy that he faced on that SmackDown back in 2002 when John Cena was just getting his start. I think it's appropriate. And I got this one here from SCW Wrestling Channel. How would you book Kurt Angle's final match in WWE at WrestleMania 35, and who would be his opponent? Well, I do feel like John Cena is a good choice. You look at potential opponents for Kurt Angle, and there's not really a lot of guys, unless you do like a Raw versus SmackDown match, which, let's face it, the brand split is pretty much a joke at this point. You could potentially do Kurt Angle versus somebody like Samoa Joe for the U.S. title if John Cena is not going to be doing WrestleMania. I heard one rumor about Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker, which doesn't sound too good to me at this point. Angle needs somebody who can carry him, and John Cena might not even be that guy, but I'm sure they would get by just on the personalities alone. As far as the finish goes, I mean, if it's against John Cena, I have no problem with Kurt Angle winning. I mean, I have no problem either way. If it's Kurt Angle against a younger guy, I would think it would make more sense for the younger guy to go over with Kurt Angle on his way out. But you could also at the same time argue that maybe Kurt Angle should have a nice feel-good end to his career by winning his final match. I'm under the belief that depending on the opponent, most likely Angle should be putting over that guy. But I feel like there are a few exceptions to that. Maybe John Cena being one of them. Got this one here from Andy. What do you think of replacing Fastlane with a pay-per-view called WWE Legends exclusively for guys like Taker, Triple H, and John Cena? Thus leaving plenty of room on the WrestleMania card for guys who work for WWE 24/7, 365 days of the year? I'm not sure how over this would go with Undertaker, Cena, and Triple H to be labeled as basically old guys that are part of a Legends pay-per-view. Now, with that being said, the concept of a Legends pay-per-view, I actually like it a lot. I think it would be really cool if WWE did once a year a Legends of WrestleMania pay-per-view right before WrestleMania on the WWE Network, where it's just the alumni. It's the old timers or guys that are no longer with WWE. You bring them back for one night for nostalgia, like an old school Raw. And I do miss those, by the way. I wish WWE would do the old school Raws again. It's a lot of fun. The nostalgia is always a nice thing to watch on television. But yeah, I think it would be a really cool thing to bring back some older stars for one night. Legends of WrestleMania, no set, just have that giant WWF/WWE logo on the wall above the entrance, just like the old days, and just let the old guys come out and be able to relive their glory days one more time. I think it would be cool if you just did it once a year. You have a lot of indie wrestling shows that are labeled as reunion shows where all these legends are brought in. So why not capitalize on that? WWE should have their own version of it. I'm a fan of it. But with that being said, I don't see guys like John Cena and Triple H being part of that, because then they're going to be labeled as old has-beens and that sort of thing. They want to be on the main show with all the current guys. Got this one here from Jason Bush. Why did WWE have Roman Reigns keep the Shield theme after they split up? It just seems so lazy to recycle themes like that. Excellent question, Jason, and I think the only logical answer is that WWE wanted Reigns to be over with the fans, so because the Shield theme was popular with the fans, you naturally give it to Roman Reigns and hope that that music will help get him cheered more by the audience. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way for WWE. And I'm just surprised WWE never tried to change things up a little bit with Reigns' music. You know, if they maybe gave him a remix of that and maybe added some lyrics, perhaps the fans would have cheered him more. It's hard to boo a guy with a badass entrance theme. And I think the problem was that some fans, yeah, the Shield music is cool, but I think some fans felt like they saw through it and they saw that WWE was just giving Reigns the music to get people to cheer for him. And I think fans resented it. And it backfired on WWE. But if WWE changed up the theme song, had some lyrics, had heavier guitars, and, you know, what Batista's music turned into. He had that initial theme song, and then Saliva did the new version, and it sounded really badass. I'm really surprised WWE never did that with Reigns. Got this one here from Cody. Hey, Aaron, is it safe to say WWE should just go to an 8 to 10 pay-per-view cycle? All most do, especially Fastlane every year, is act as cash grabs filler until it's time to book the big 4 shows. Also, Ambrose has to resign, right? WWE never acknowledged stars leaving. Don't know what's going on with Ambrose. I mean, again, this is unprecedented with WWE announcing that he's leaving. He could end up staying, but he could also end up going, and that's still all up in the air right now. Now, regarding the pay-per-views, I like once a month, because when you do, let's say, 8 pay-per-views a year instead of 12, yeah, there's more time between pay-per-views, but then I feel like the writing slows down and, you know, the build doesn't really start taking effect until a couple weeks before the show. So you have more watered down episodes of Raw and SmackDown because there's not as much of an urgency to promote the next big event, because the attitude is, well, you got more time now, so, you know, you don't have to rush. And I feel like it's good to keep the shows moving at a fast pace and always building up to something. I like the once a month pay-per-view format. 12 a year, no more, no less. Got this one here from They See Me Rollins. Is Lio Rush the new Enzo Amore, an annoying cruiserweight? Well, he could end up being that way. I mean, hopefully not as controversial as Enzo. Lio has gotten his name in the headlines a little bit. There's been speculation about him being a pain in the ass and rubbing people the wrong way. And Enzo had that reputation, and there were all these different reports about him. And hopefully Lio doesn't get fired, because Leo's a really talented guy and he's entertaining, and I think he has some potential to succeed. If he's annoying you in the good way, then there's no problem. But if he's got that X-Pac heat where you just don't want to see him on your television, then he needs to change things up. But for me personally, I think he's been really entertaining in his role as the hype man for Bobby Lashley. Got this one here from Kenneth. Hey, Aaron, since Tommaso Ciampa is injured and has to relinquish the NXT title, and with Aleister Black, Ricochet, and Gargano being called, what do you think about giving Adam Cole, baby, a run with the NXT title? He deserves it and is one of the most talented on NXT. Well, without spoiling anything, I think there's a decent chance Adam Cole will be the top guy in NXT over the next year or so. With these new call-ups, I think naturally Adam Cole is going to be at the top of the food chain in NXT. And I could see Adam Cole and Ricochet, or not Adam Cole and Ricochet, Adam Cole and Matt Riddle, I meant to say. I could see those guys being the headliners of NXT now with these new call-ups. I think he's going to be the top heel in NXT for at least the next 6 to 8 months, maybe even longer, maybe the next year. So yeah, I definitely think he's going to be in the title picture at the very least. This one comes from Joshua. What if at WrestleMania, Sasha and Bayley had a fatal four-way with them facing teams from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT? I like this idea, Joshua. I think it's a good idea. I think WWE would like it because it gets all these people on the pay-per-view, and that's pretty much the goal with WrestleMania. They want to get everybody on the card. Everybody has their WrestleMania moment, but this is a nice way to do it. Sasha and Bayley say they're going to defend the titles against everyone from different brands, so why not do a match where Raw's represented, SmackDown's represented, and NXT's represented, a triple threat match between 3 teams from each of those brands for the women's titles. I think it's a cool idea. I'd go with it. I know it's another multi-person match, but at least it makes sense in the storyline with Sasha and Bayley saying that they would take on contenders from the other brands. Got this one here from the General, Jerry Slaughter. Check out his videos, NXT Tea Party for the UK, and then What's NXT for the main NXT brand over on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. With the reboot of the League of Nations stable, I have to ask you what you consider to be the greatest faction in the company's history, and will this one flop like the last incarnation? I hope you're pulling my chain here, Jerry. I don't think that was a new League of Nations formation that we saw on SmackDown. He's talking about the tag team that consisted of Sheamus and Cesaro and Rusev and Nakamura. I think that was just a one-off. I don't think they're going to be an actual team. Don't even joke about that. Maybe you were joking, but if not, I never want to see anything like the League of Nations again. That was so bad. But as far as like the greatest faction in WWE history, probably D-Generation X. I mean, WCW had 2 of the biggest factions ever, the Horsemen and the NWO. But WWE-wise, yeah, I think I would go with DX as the all-time greatest WWE-created faction. Got this one here from the anime fans. I just thought of something. If Chyna cannot go into the Hall of Fame by herself because of the adult stuff, does the same rules apply for Val Venis because of the gimmick? I think the Chyna stuff was just an excuse. You know, I feel like there probably was some bad blood with Triple H, Chyna, and Stephanie McMahon, and WWE just didn't want to go there. So they just said, well, if you Google Chyna, you know, that doesn't go along with what we're trying to do as a PG company. I think it was all BS. As far as Val Venis goes, I mean, they did induct The Godfather, so I don't see any reason why Val Venis would not be inducted. Yeah, I think maybe his gimmick was a little bit more graphic than The Godfather, but still, I mean, it was a product of its time, and of course, that's how it would be presented. And it was a cool gimmick. It was a memorable gimmick. People have fond memories of Val Venis, so I could see it happening. I think it just depends on Vince again, what kind of mood he's in. Does he feel like, yeah, let's do Val Venis, not that way, just have him inducted into the Hall of Fame. But then again, Vince might be like, well, this is, you know, not good for our sponsorship to promote this, so we're not going to do it. You know, just depends on Vince and how he's feeling when the time comes to putting people in the Hall of Fame. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting NoDQ.com. If you enjoyed this video, first of all, subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend about NoDQ Video, whether it's through Facebook, Twitter, email, smoke signal, whatever you can do, please spread the word. Word of mouth goes a really long way. And if you would like to support the site financially, feel free to pick up a t-shirt at nodq.com/shirts. We have something like 24 designs on there, all the different NoDQ.com personalities. Feel free to show your support for them and, of course, NoDQ.com. And stay tuned to NoDQ for the very latest regarding WrestleMania 35. Have a great one. Take care.